If there's one consistent theme in Greek mythology, it's that the gods love messing with mortals. The most obvious examples of this come from Zeus, when he's knocking up mortal women left and right, but he is by no means the only one in this sport. Plenty of other Olympians love messing with mortals. Apollo has a bad habit of letting his lovers end up as flowers, and Dionysus drives his own followers to the brink of insanity, and even the women of Olympus get involved. On at least 2 separate occasions, Athena turned 2 of her own followers into cursed monsters, Arachne, who became queen of the spiders, and Medusa, the snake-haired lady who will turn you to stone if you look into her eyes. Now, despite everything I just said, like many things in life, there are exceptions for every rule. And the exception to the rule that the gods always mess with mortals is Prometheus. And he is the one who created mankind. Consider supporting me on Patreon or Ko-fi. You'll find the links below. Thank you. Prometheus is one of the Titans, the elder generation of deities who fought a war against the Olympians. However, Prometheus did not side with his Titan relatives. He and his brother Epimetheus fought alongside Zeus and the other Olympians. And because they chose the right side on the war that we call the Titanomachy, Prometheus and Epimetheus were able to walk free once the war was over. They're still Titans though, which meant they couldn't live on Olympus, so the brothers decided to live on Earth instead. While they were on Earth, Zeus tasked the brothers with making creatures to inhabit the land, and they got to work immediately. Epimetheus took some clay from the river and fashioned thousands of creatures. He made many creatures who could crawl on the land, many more who could swim in the seas, and even some who could fly across the skies. The swimming and flying abilities were made possible thanks to the fact that these creatures were imbued with the power of the gods. Normal land-dwelling creatures do not have such a power. While Epimetheus was busy doing his own thing, Prometheus was spending a lot of time on one singular creature. He also took clay from the river, and he molded a torso, followed by limbs and a head. Finally, he called Athena down from Olympus, and she breathed life and knowledge into the creature. And after that, the first human came into existence. Now, I'm going to pause real quick to explain something. There's this belief spread around online that according to Greek mythology, when humans were originally created, they had 4 arms, 4 legs, 2 faces, and were both male and female. Zeus thought these original humans were too powerful, so he split them into 2 separate beings, an individual man and an individual woman. This split is why people spend their life searching for a partner to love. They're looking for someone who they were originally created with. This story does come from Greek literature, but not Greek religion. It is instead from Greek philosophy, specifically the philosopher Plato and his dialogue The Symposium, which was a collection of speeches written about Eros and the concept of love in Greek culture. This is a philosopher's attempt at explaining soulmates, and that's a big distinction. While this text is Greek, it's not Greek religion, but instead it's Greek philosophy. That's a small but very important difference. And the reason for that is that we don't know if this was a wide-held belief in ancient Greece, or if Plato was just making this up for the sake of a debate. So again, while that story does come from ancient Greece, it's not the mythology, and I just wanted to add, because it's a kind of a rumor online, that it does come from mythology. It's always good to check your sources, people. I have mine in the description below. Anyways, back to the story. Prometheus then asked his brother if he could borrow some of the godly energy he used to help the creatures fly and swim. Unfortunately, Epimetheus used all of his godly gifts on the birds and the fishes, but he suggested they go to Zeus. Conveniently, Zeus was watching them at the time, and he interjected at that moment, saying he would rather the humans stay on the ground, so that way they would worship the gods. Prometheus did not like that his creations were relegated to worship duty, and this was the first mark of division between Zeus and Prometheus. Even though humans worshipping the gods was Zeus's idea, Zeus tasked Prometheus with figuring out how humans would worship the gods. Prometheus suggested the humans sacrifice bulls and split the carcass in 2, one half for the gods, one half for themselves. Zeus agreed to this, and he said he'd take whichever half looked tastier. And that was the line that gave Prometheus an awfully great idea. Prometheus went down to Earth and killed a bull for the sacrifice test run. He took the bones of the bull and wrapped them up in a wad of fatty meat. He then took the actual edible parts of the animal and stuffed them in the guts. Prometheus then met up with Zeus outside of Olympus, and he presented Zeus with 2 options for sacrifice. a wad of fatty meat, or bull intestines. Zeus chose the fatty meat wad, and he took it back up to Olympus, while Prometheus went back to humanity with the bull intestines. When Zeus arrived at the top, the gods were very impressed. That is, until someone opened up the wad of fat, and they found nothing but inedible bones. Zeus was outraged by the trick Prometheus had played, but he couldn't go back on his word. So instead of punishing Prometheus, Zeus opted for a more universal punishment by taking fire away from humanity. Zeus declared humans would never use fire again as he stripped the world of flames. How is the sky god able to do this? I don't know. He's king of the gods, I know that. So maybe it's a perk with the king title. Prometheus was not happy about this, and he was especially hurt when he saw humans suffering in the cold and darkness. Prometheus decided he wanted to change this and save humanity, so he snuck into Olympus at night to steal fire from Hephaestus' forge. Prometheus successfully broke in and got out of Olympus without being caught, and when he went back down to Earth, he gifted humanity fire so that they could be warm again. But he didn't just stop there. No, Prometheus made sure Zeus would never be able to exert that much force on humanity ever again. Prometheus taught humans math, farming, architecture, astronomy, writing, and before you knew it, civilizations were popping up all over the world. Athena may have given them wisdom, but it was Prometheus who taught them how to use the knowledge they were given. That explains why he is called Prometheus. It means forethought or thinking ahead. He had the foresight to think ahead and figure out a way to make it so that humanity would never be punished like that again. An unspecified amount of time later, I like to think the next day because humanity popping civilizations up overnight is hilarious. When Zeus started paying attention to humanity again, he was surprised and pissed to find out that not only did humans have access to fire again, they were building cities, sailing the seas, studying the stars, and doing a whole bunch of other nerdy stuff like planting and agriculture. Zeus was outraged and he wanted to ruin humanity again, but this time they were too numerous and spread out across the world. Any future punishments would be harder and take longer. So instead, Zeus targeted the one who he knew was responsible for humanity's advancement. Zeus knew it was Prometheus who assisted humanity, and with the help of Hephaestus, who was probably mad that someone had stolen fire from his forge, they both captured Prometheus and chained him to a rock. But it doesn't end there. To make sure Prometheus would suffer, Zeus instructed an eagle to eat the liver of Prometheus every day, and because he is a deity, his liver will grow back overnight, so that way Prometheus was in an endless cycle of torture. For an unknown amount of time, he would be stuck on that rock, getting his liver eaten every day. But not forever. There would eventually come a time where Prometheus was freed. And he was freed, ironically, by a demigod son of Zeus, who you've probably heard of. His name is Heracles. Not to be confused with his Roman version, Hercules. They're similar, but not the same. You might think Zeus would get really mad that his own son is freeing one of his rivals. Zeus didn't seem to care because he was rooting for Heracles to finish the 12 labors. Prometheus is specifically freed during labor number 11, while Heracles is searching for some apples. Heracles finds Prometheus, he kills the eagle, and frees him from his chains. Unfortunately, that is the last we hear of Prometheus in Greek mythology. We don't know what he got up to after getting freed, but if his past is any indicator, he's probably still watching over humanity in some way like he always did. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far into the video, please consider leaving a like and a comment telling me what you thought. I also have a Patreon, Ko-fi, and other methods of financially supporting me which can be found below. So until next time, have a good one.